Good morning. I hope you're having a blessed morning. Satnam, namaste. I'm just giving it a few moments to make sure that everybody has a chance to show up and be with us this morning. As you can see from this past week's activity on YouTube, I'm trying to make a vast effort to be here more often. If you want more of my work, particularly for channelings and the classes and the things that I talk about, you can always find me at patreon.com/Pamela Aaralyn. And again, right now we're running a special right now. When you join it, you will receive a code that gives you 33% off of a session or mentorship, source tone, any recorded class, anything. But I'm so happy that you've been making it live every morning. That's been phenomenal. Sorry I missed yesterday. So you join Patreon, don't forget to email. If you join Patreon looking for that discount for the sessions and classes on my website, on my private website, make sure that you email us there from your Patreon account to get that 33% off code, because I'm only going to do that in June. Another exciting thing was I got my final cuts from my LP, from my 3 songs on my first LP. So I'm researching now how to get it on Amazon. I was going to put it on iTunes, but I heard that Apple's getting rid of iTunes, so that would be a little bit futile, huh? So we're thinking right now and researching about Amazon and Spotify, and what else? Had we talked about something else? So anyway, that's going to be available as soon as we can figure out how to do it. You're going to have to be patient with me. I'm a new recording artist who just doesn't know what she's quite doing yet with technicalities and things of that nature. Yeah, and it'll be on Apple Music as well, I believe, from what we're researching so far. So that's Apple Music, Spotify, and Amazon, as long as all of them accept us and it's affordable for us. So far, the research seems to be like very doable. Yeah. You excited? Yeah, I am using my singing bowls, and it has a backdrop of strings and a lot of vocals and just different, very ambient things like that. It's easy to meditate to. There are a lot of singing bowls, as you knew that there would be. The mantras are sang in operatic style, so I thought that it would be good to offer something in a different way, because I love mantras, but my voice, I'm trained in opera. So I didn't know of anybody else doing that out there in the musical world. So I thought it'd be different and go with what comes to my heart, because you've heard me sing before. My voice is a little different. So I had to do it the way I wanted to do it. So it's very high pitched, but in a soft way. I really hope you like it. So I'm hoping to get it done at least by July. We'll see. That's my goal anyway, just letting you know. Yeah. So I'm excited to sit with you. I labeled this particular satsang and this Q&A, why does pain exist, and how to stop suffering, because there seems to be such a big misperception in the world today about pain and why it exists. So I want to get your take on it. Let's start with you. Why do you believe that it happens? What do you believe the purpose of pain and suffering on earth is? Where are you in your journey with that? Please talk to me about it and let me know how you feel about it. I mean, there's obvious things that I could tell you. Pain is for growth. Pain is for expansion. We're in a dualistic environment. What I mean by that, dualism is two opposite sides of what is actually oneness, what is actually the same thing. Until we awaken in our hearts, we don't know that. So until we know that, it's easy to perceive that as something that's absolutely horrid and to feel it as such. So I want your take on that today as well. What are you experiencing in your life, and how are you perceiving it? This contrast. Yeah. Some of you are saying it's for the evolution of the soul. Yeah. Just reading your comments. Give me just a moment. contracts and lessons. Right. There's so much placement of that when we seek egoic understanding and when we seek understanding from just our minds, of what that is. It doesn't make us really feel any better to understand that something's going to be hard, that yes, we chose it, that yes, the self chose this for an apparent realization of some variety that's unique to our soul essence, our unique flavor of growth. But does that really make you feel any better? Right? I do have a video about this that I put up a couple years ago called The Meaning of Pain and Suffering, and you're welcome to go through that as well. I tried to explain it very simply in that video as well. Understanding doesn't work. What does the word understanding even mean to you? I can be a little bit literal when I look at meanings of things. This is the way my mind works anyway, is that I'm like, I stand under something. What does that mean? I'm looking up at it, out at it, as if it's so far away from me. That's what understanding means to me. And it doesn't feel better to get a logical, pragmatic grasp on something as profound, so profound that we could have chosen, that there's no way that the mind's going to make that feel better by understanding it, you know? Okay, Tiaba, you're on it. Oh, she is so on it. She said, I think pain is sometimes a result of forgetfulness. I channel a couple of Christ conscious entities that I call Halal and Lilith, one representing divine masculine and another representing the creative divine feminine. So in a creative world, they discuss something called the great forgetting. So what that forgetting is this period of this moment of amnesia where we enter a creative environment and we choose to forget for the sake of the beauty of love when we return to our remembering. We choose to forget. We love oneness so much that we choose to forget and remember all over again in a different way. We forget in different ways. We remember in different ways. Every time we awaken to the truth of love and oneness over and over and over again, from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime, the forgetting is harder. And if the forgetting is harder, if the pain is harder, if all of the contracts that come with that forgetfulness are more difficult, the expansion and the remembering is ever as sweet. Is that making sense? So there's some things that you don't forget along the way. It's as if your soul essence has dropped these little cues to help you remember. The feeling that you get when you sing or when you hear someone sing. The feeling in your heart that you get when you watch a baby walk for the first time or coo. The feeling that you get in your heart when you smell cut grass. The feeling that you get when you're, a teenager and sitting with your friend and belly laughing on the floor at a slumber party. The feeling that you get when you dance and you forget what you look like when you're dancing and you stop caring what other people think when they're looking at you dancing. I could keep going and going and going. Feeling that you get as a child when you're on the swings and you're getting higher and higher in that brief moment of time when all of your fear fades and you no longer worry about if you're going to fall off the swing or if the swing's going to go over the top like this. Not only do you forget about the fear of it going over the top, you start trying to make it go over the top. Do you remember these times? Are you with me here on this? There are only two truths in this universe: love or something that needs more of love. So if you cannot see something in love, it means it requires forgiveness. And when you forgive something, a circumstance, a person, yourself, that you can no longer see as love, you are answering a call to love from within you and from within the circumstance or person that you are forgiving. That is the reason for pain and suffering. There are a lot of misperceptions of suffering. The first misperception is that you have pain, that you are being punished, that there must be a reason for punishment or persecution or a shaming, if you will. None of that is helpful. Quite frankly, shame is the most useless emotion I have ever set my eyes upon in this journey. If you're feeling shame, it's so far from love that you must stop instantaneously what you're doing, thinking, saying, feeling, and forgive the circumstance or being at hand. Forgive it, even if you don't know why. Even if you don't know anything, forgive it. That'll bring you out of shame. The first step of returning to love so that pain doesn't become suffering is to forgive shame the moment you feel it. No questions asked, no understanding required. This is why I love the Ho'oponopono, and something about it when you sing it is much more powerful. So are you familiar with the Ho'oponopono? If every time, every single one of you had pain, this is one of my top healing techniques as a shaman and yogi in this creative experience, is the Ho'oponopono. So when I see someone experiencing pain, I sing the Ho'oponopono in my mind or out loud to their hearts. I merge with them. I ask permission to merge with them. And due to the belief that I have about the innocence of pain, their pain begins to go away. And thereby, so does my misperception of their pain, if there is any. So, do you understand the Ho'oponopono? Can I sing it today? You're going to cry. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, someone said it makes me weep every time I sing it. That is the purpose, for you to release. You just, okay. I have one singing bowl at the desk today, not all 7 like I normally do, but we'll make do with what we have. So what I would like you to do is kind of close your eyes. Think about a person or circumstance that you would like to forgive. Think about the pain that you're experiencing emotionally. Any of the circumstances that caused it, don't even worry about that right now. Just get out of your minds and try to forgive the fact that the pain is there or was there. It's a person, circumstance, or just the pain itself. Either way. So what you can do in your mind is kind of pull that up, okay? I like to work in alchemy. Primarily in many lifetimes, I've been a sound alchemist and just an alchemist of all varieties. So what I do, I love sacred shapes. So I place a sacred shape. I love the pyramid around me, okay? And basically, I pull in the emotion that's attached to the person or circumstance or the pain in my body or mind, whatever's going on. And oh no, I always have singing bowls. Anya said, you brought a bowl. I always keep at least a couple by my desk, but most of them are back there. I just have one today. When you put that sacred shape around you, just envision, if you're not a visual person, just feel it around you, get a knowingness in your mind that it is around you. And then you say this, I'm sorry. I thank you. Please forgive me. I love you. I'm sorry. Thank you. Forgive me. I love you. Over and over and over again. Doesn't really matter what order. And then Ho'oponopono is the word for that. If you want to understand the technology behind the Ho'oponopono, just do your quick little Google search for a minute or later. There was a doctor, that was, I believe he was on the floor, in a psychiatric institution. And before he would even see patients as a resident doctor there, he would do this Ho'oponopono. He would look at the chart and their picture and he would do this Ho'oponopono. And by the time they got to him to see him, they were having instantaneous miracles. And it was so exciting. He shut the hospital down. They don't need it anymore. Yeah. So Give me just a second. All right. Just wanted to check my sound for a second because it's been a little different if I don't make one adjustment on the microphone. So are you ready to do that? Remember to put your sacred shape around you and visualize it and think of the feeling that you have when it comes to the pain, circumstance or person or yourself, but primarily what you're focusing on is the feeling. And then just follow along. I'm sorry, forgive me. I thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, forgive me. I thank you, I love you. Oh, bono, bono. Oh, bono, bono. Oh, bono, bono. Ho'oponopono, ho'oponopono, ho'oponopono. I'm sorry, forgive me. I thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, forgive me. I thank you, I love you. Ho'oponopono, ho'oponopono, ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono, ho'oponopono, ho'oponopono. I'm sorry, forgive me. I thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, forgive me. I thank you, I love you. Ho'oponopono, ho'oponopono, ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono, ho'oponopono, ho'oponopono. Satnam. When you can view every situation as innocent, as divinely perfect, not including the judgments that your mind would try to bring upon those situations, not to try to attempt to even make meaning of those situations, that will provide your greatest accessibility to grace. And grace is what is needed to heal anything and everything on this planet. Yeah. Oh, Lilith, I'm so happy to know your baby is singing along. That makes me happy. I love babies. Yeah. So just carry that frequency, carry that innocence throughout your day. It's a great thing to do, to honor this practice, to do it over and over and over again. If you're experiencing something in your life that involves suffering, this is the frequency that you need. So what is pain? What is the illness that comes thereby? When I channel all of these Christ conscious beings that you know me for channeling, throughout the past few years, particularly, Jesus is what you call him. I like to call him Yeshua or Joshua ben Joseph. Um, One of the things he says to me is that illness is a form of external seeking. And when I ask him how to return to health, he says you have to return to innocence and peace. And when you're peaceful, forgiving, and accepting of your situation, there comes an interesting technology that I like to call compassion. So this is that bridge between everything that you haven't forgiven and everything that you will. So when you're looking to get to grace, stand on the bridge of compassion. Even if you feel that that's not a bridge, that it's a line that you're towing and about to fall off of, even do it anyway. Just try. What a question. Now it's time to answer your questions, by the way, since this is a Q&A and a satsang. You feel wonderful? Good. That makes me happy to hear. Would you stay with someone who is always in pain? I'm going to turn that question around on you. Would you stay with yourself if you are always in pain? Would you want someone to hold your hand and stay with you through pain? If you are viewing their pain as anything but love, what needs to be forgiven? So that circumstance can go in many different ways. I do not promote neglect or abuse. So if you're talking about a personal relationship and that pain has resulted in suffering to you in this specific way, then no, I would not. But otherwise, if you're seeing someone in pain, what is wrong with being around someone who is in pain? Why do you perceive it, or not you, but anyone? Why would anyone perceive pain as a horrible thing or as a burden? It is your grandest opportunity to extend compassion and grace to that person. Do I remember the song Return to Innocence by Enigma? Yes, I do. When I first started doing readings, I started out because I see very differently. The cones and rods in my eyes are very different. I'm almost legally blind. Not a lot of people know that. That's why I don't often look at the camera because I can't really see it. Just letting you know. This is why my eyes go everywhere when you're watching me channeling, because I can't see what's going on. I'm making attempts to see your things on screen, but my eyes are different. So when I first started, I began using those gifts by seeing energy fields, seeing auras and chakras and meridian points and nadis and all sorts of those, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of nadis in the body, and trying to find ways to connect them all. It was a passion of mine. And I was and still am a medical medium. And being someone who's always around people with pain, I attract people with strong illnesses. And it's one of my greatest initiations as a shaman and as a yogi in this lifetime, and as a person who holds a space for healing to begin. That was just incredible. I saw that. Thank you for that. You didn't have to do that. My partner just sent a massive super chat tip. She didn't have to do that. Thank you. I love you too. So if the pain is not there, how would you get an opportunity? Like I said, I started out seeing pain and observing it. And I've been a shaman and a yogi, a healer, if you will. I don't like that word, but some of you do. Some people call me a psychic, a channel. I'm just a conduit for grace to help you access that innocence until you can realize your own power. I'm the person who kind of steps in and gets you there. But I started out, and the very first song that I put on my website, when my website was aurareader.com. Do you all remember that? You guys have been with me for a long time. I started out with the Enigma song Return to Innocence as kind of background music until it started annoying some of you. Now it's obviously just PamelaAaralyn.com, but back when it was aurareader.com, it was that. Is it possible to heal your eyes? It would if you're looking at healing as if you're saying my vision isn't already perfect the way it is. So I don't wish for a return of physical vision in the same way. I love the way I see. I can see. I just don't see the way you do. I see through sound and frequency. I am what you would call synesthete. I have strong synesthesia. So I see through the ether. I see in a very interesting way. I don't see form is the best way that I can explain it to you. I was trying to explain it to my kids the other day, or just yesterday rather, because this was so funny. I love water and I don't see differences between myself and other beings or things. So when I sit down in a chair, it feels like my body's falling through it. When I step down on the floor, I always have to be cognizant of where the bottom of my foot ends and the top of the floor begins, because it just doesn't feel the same. I have to literally tell my mind it's a floor and my foot is going on it. This is a mind thing. It really became exceptionally better and interesting post enlightenment. So is it possible to heal it? If you're looking for me to heal my eyes and see like you, yeah, it's possible. The belief is strong enough, sure, but I like the way I see. So if I'm attempting to see like you, it's a problem. If I'm not attempting to see the way that the rest of the world sees, then it's not a problem. You see what I mean? Oh, yeah, Kelly, you make a good point. She said compassion and forgiveness about the pain of others is easy, but allowing them to control your environment with their pain, which is abuse, is in its own way. I agree. And I do not promote neglect or abuse in any way, shape, or form. Just putting that out there. But pain will be the way that you learn in this environment, unless you're born enlightened and realize pain will be the way that you learn, no matter what. Oh, we have a super chat asking about cancer. Okay, I'll try to remain unbiased about the question. What about cancer? This is a form of pain. My teacher has it and it went away, but it's back and it makes me wonder why. Well, let's start with this. Cancer is not a disease. It is a virus. So I want you to think, and this is my medical medium brain kicking in for a moment. When you look at viruses under the microscope, what do? They multiply and they kill everything else that's not like them. Cancer comes for various reasons, depending upon where it is in the body. Therefore, depending upon, you could tell me a little bit more. Whoever posted this super chat, I only see initials RV. But if it's back, it means the lesson still has not been forgiven, the circumstance that caused it, and is always emotional. For breast cancer, I've noticed it's one of the most common forms of cancer, and it's often the inability to love oneself and to see oneself as worthy. Other forms of cancer have to do with feeling powerless and resentful, like bitterness and resentment, or a big form, like it literally eats away. But going back to the analogy of the virus under the microscope, the virus will kill everything that's not like it. So cancer, if you think about it, is the biggest form of separation that could possibly exist in form. So when you stop seeing everything as separate, cancer starts to have no real use with you. Are you following me there? Ask if you need a follow-up. There's another super chat from Artist Sculptor. Thank you for that. He says he has his first session later today. And I love the name. That is a really curious name. Now I'm really going to wonder which one of you you're going to be talking to me today. And now I'm curious who you are. I'm not going to stop thinking about it now. Thank you so much for the super chat tip. Okay. Do you have advice to heal our hearts for self-love? Yes. Follow the forgiveness tips that I've given in this journey. There are deeper expansions of it on my Patreon site, Emotional Alchemy 101, Awakening the Shaman. These are just classes that have very deep forgiveness tips. I just taught a powerful class that comes from my writings and my book in progress called A Course in Forgiveness. I shared a lot of the most powerful tips from that book yesterday on Patreon. So that's it. It's called The Ultimate Self-Love Mastery. So in that class, it's a lot of tips from Halo and Lilith and Yeshua, Mary, and the Christ conscious beings that I've channeled to help create the technologies, or rather to make you aware of those technologies that exist for you to go deeper into self-love. So to heal your hearts for self-love, forgiveness is necessary, and there are steps to that. Okay. What about addiction? Well, what about it? What do you have to say about it? I feel like addiction is a deeper call to release self-sabotage. A deeper call to stop distracting yourself from the insanity of your environment and to go deeper to the sanity of God within you. It's a deeper degree of letting go and trusting. Do miraculous healings happen for everyone? Well, I think not. Otherwise, we'd all see that and feel that in the environments. But it also depends upon your belief system, and belief is so deeply involved in that right now. You are so deeply entrained and ingrained in belief systems, and your beliefs aren't creatively powerful enough for that to happen for everyone yet. So I'm going to give you a scenario. What if belief were not involved? What if you could completely take belief out of the equation, because miracles are not something that you need to believe in. Miracles are common, everyday occurrences. They should be something as easy as understanding the glory and grandeur and miracle of the fact that you are in the most sophisticated tool and machine possible. You are in a body, and your body is a miracle. Your birth even is a miracle. The fact that you are here is a miracle. I am a 3-time near-death experiencer. And that's just counting the major near-death experiences. I'm not even counting the other 5 minor ones that could be counted. So I have a clear understanding of what miracles are. Yeah. So I understood that to access the miracle, you have to access innocence and the ability to see everything as innocence. What you believe that you are will determine the gifts that you have access to in your playing and working and realization of grace. Can you tell me more about star seeds? Yeah, I can. I can tell you that every single one of you is a star seed. Is that clear enough? Every single one of you. Stars wrapped up in skin. Yeah. Cool name, by the way. Twinkle Estrella. Twinkle Little Star. That's going to make me sing again. That is one of the favorite songs that I like to sing to my little girl. And we also love You Are My Sunshine. Except I realized that when I looked at the lyrics to You Are My Sunshine, it's like disastrously sad. Yeah. So I started to change up the lyrics a little bit. Have you guys ever really listened to the lyrics of You Are My Sunshine? How do you transmute fear of pain? You don't. Fear is there as your biggest mentor. It's like being afraid of your trainer at the gym, your yoga instructor, your hiking guide, your guru, yogis. So fear is there for you to walk through it, for you to take its hand and to walk through it. What would you be without it? Who knows? But if you're afraid of it, you're not going to find out. Yeah. Oh, that question. How did you get through your time of being kidnapped? I had to learn right away because my kidnapper was a torturer. He got off on observing me being tortured. So I got through it by forgiving him every single time and by seeing him as innocent. And then finally, I realized that I am not the body that he wished to torture. I am not that body. And the more I realized that I wasn't that body, I could step outside of it and view the whole situation from a bird's eye view, like this, looking down, looking at him, looking at me, and being able to see what portion of myself wanted to torture me and forgive that portion of myself. I did it every single time until I no longer experienced pain, until he could not. He tried and he tried and he tried and he could not cause me to experience pain. That's how I got through it. He lost interest at some point in time and stopped. When was that? In my 20s, right after university, immediately after. Sing You Are My Sunshine. No, not today. You guys will cry. We're the way that I sing it is kind of one of those things that produces tears. Did you get my Facebook message? I don't answer them. I'm so terribly sorry. I wish that I could, but I receive so many hundreds of them a day, and they often go in the other messages folder on Facebook. So I've been a lot less active on Facebook and a lot more active here on YouTube, a lot more active on Patreon, and starting to become a little bit more active on Instagram as well. But Facebook messages I can't answer because they're just too many. I really wish that I could, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, Kareen said I read the lyrics for the first time. I know. You guys want to give me some different lyrics for it? Because I'm in the process of rewriting the lyrics myself, but I sing it. And because I'm such a perfectionist as a musician about my lyrics and how they have to be profound, I love lyrics, I love words. So I keep writing it and rewriting it and rewriting it. Yeah. You didn't know it because I haven't shared it. I used to be, uh, prior to enlightenment, I used to be terrified to share my personal life. It was really uncomfortable. Um, and then I just didn't have that fear anymore. There you have it. Nothing was fear anymore thereafter. Mm. Yeah, yeah, Twinkle. That's the first part of the lyrics. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy. The skies are gray. You never know how much I love you. Never take my sunshine away. But then the other lyrics after that are like really sad. You guys should rewrite it for me. And if you rewrite it for me more positively, and one of you sends an email, how about this? If one of you sends an email with new and loving and non-sad You Are My Sunshine lyrics, you can keep the first, but then for the rest of the lyrics, they need to be powerful and loving and full of love. If you do that, I will give you a free 20-minute reading with me if I accept it and if my team likes it. How's that? I'm getting a bunch of emails today. But I really want to do it. I just haven't found the right words. I think that we talked about this a little bit in an earlier satsang this week, but I'll answer your question just kind of briefly. Petra, she said, sometimes I see a sensation of ripples of light, normally to the side of my vision, covering part of it. What does it mean? It comes and goes. It's going to happen. That is a normal part of spiritual awakening where the cones and rods in your eyes are shifting, and you could possibly be seeing into the ether. That's like the realm between realms. So that's just dimensional shifting where You remember the analogy that I gave you guys about the car, when you get your first car after high school or college, that kind of embarrassing car that your parents give you, and you're going down the interstate and it's rattling and rattling and rattling when you're trying to get to like 65 or 70. And then when it finally hits 65 or 70, then it smooths out. Your eyes, your emotions, your skin in particular, the stomach lining. There's so many things that I notice have big shifts in spiritual awakening. There you go. So that's normal. If it comes to a point where if you're seeing double vision, if you can't function in the way that you are experiencing vision during a spiritual awakening, it might be wise to see a doctor. So I would not discount everything for ascension. It's some things that people do. And as a medical intuitive, I see it often. And I'm like, okay, yes, that may or may not be a part of ascension, but it sounds dangerous. Why don't you get some healing on that? So do not ignore things either. Do you transcribe your Patreon channelings for your blog? No, but I transcribe them for books that I've been working on. Yeah. How do I take fierce hand? There's not a guide on that, really. But self-love is the place to start. Compassion for yourself is the place to start. Compassion is something that if you don't have it, get someone who can extend it for you. Meditate, feel the compassion that source pulls through your heart. This is why I started creating music, because my gift is compassion. And through my voice and my frequency in my voice, it causes people to feel compassion. So that's one way. That's one reason why I started creating these mantra albums, is because I wanted you to feel compassion without me having to give you a guide of this, then that, and this, and that. I just wanted you to feel it. Sound does that. So immerse yourself in divine sound current. Immerse yourself in mantra, whether it's mine or anyone's. I have a particular love for Niranjan Kaur. Just so you know, she was the first mantra artist that I discovered, and the best. And I dedicated one of the songs on my album to her and sang it in her style. So I know that's not a big surprise to you, because I have been really just plugging her for the past 2 years, because I believe that her voice carries one of the highest accessibilities to grace and compassion possible on this planet. So yeah, it's phenomenal. She's phenomenal. So you just immerse yourself in mantra. Bhakti yogis, you understand it is the yoga of divine sound. And you just feel it, chant it, say it, speak it, become it, sing it until you are it. Let your days become immersed in sound. It is the best thing you can do to get through fear. I don't even really perceive fear when I'm in that space. Well, and haven't actually for a very long time. Do I know Deyadova? I love Deyadova. Love, love, love her. It's incredibly tribal. Book tour? No, I got to finish a book first. I'm still working on that. What is visual snow? It is the same thing that I was describing earlier. How do I spell her name? I will type it out for you in the chat. So the song that I dedicated to her is this song as well, and it's on my album, like number 2 in my LP, and will be mentioned on there as well, that it's a dedication to her and the power of what she does in this world. So it's Niranjan Kaur, Nirinjan, last name Kaur. Yvonne, about menopause symptoms, I think the best thing to do with that is to breathe, start yoga. This is why I created Kripa Yoga, which translates in Sanskrit to the yoga of grace, because I wanted to give you accessibility of grace through breath and through turning off the mind. So the breath will turn off your mind, and the breath will direct the body. So we discussed the 4 elements that can bring you greater control over your faculties, all of your senses. Because if you have control of the breath, if you are in charge of your breath, if you are conscious of your breath, then you are then aware of, conscious of, and empower of all of the 4 types of karma that exist in your world. So that's karma of thought, it's what you think. Karma of emotion, that is what you feel. Karma of speech, what you say, what you say or write. And then karma of your physical action, that is what you do thereby. So I say this in my class, Awakening the Shaman, all the time. And it's just so important to get control of those faculties, get control of the senses. Wayanti, yes, Kareen, that is going on my second album. I have my first album is primarily me and the singing bowls, with strings and some interesting vocal backups, some interesting angelic type chorus backup. And then the second one is going to be more of with my harmonium and bowls and more strings and vocal backup, but primarily harmonium. And that will be the Wayanti, that my version of the Wayanti is sang with the harmonium. So that will be on the second album. It's not done yet, but I have some goals to do that this year as well. Where can you find it? I just mixed it. I just got my final mixes done from my sound engineer today, and we love it. But we've got to find out. We don't have a lot of knowledge about how to get it yet on Amazon and how to get it on Spotify and how to get it on Apple Music. So probably going to start with Apple Music and then go from there. I will definitely let you know as soon as I get it there, but I don't know how to do these things yet. Can you say something about Parkinson's disease? Overall, the tremors especially are associations of fear. So tremors represent being out of control in the neurological system. So that comes from feeling overstimulated, overwhelmed, and feeling like the world is too much, like everything is too much. So I noticed that a lot of people who have issues with Parkinson's disease are actually a little bit reclusive and a little bit to themselves, a little bit more introverted. And prefer it that way. But then if you don't give yourself that accessibility of, and if you don't honor that, it's really, really difficult. And again, I didn't sit down with water. How did I know I was a medical medium? Well, my first spiritual awakening occurred at age 5. And I began to see form for what it actually is, which is just energy that people believe is solid. This is why I love water, by the way, because water just like conforms to everything. It's the most real thing that I've ever seen in these environments. But I would start out by seeing things at the molecular level. And the primary thing that I see in bodies is water. And I can tell based upon how much water, how little water, how much molecular memory the molecules are holding in the water in someone's body. I can tell exactly where their disease is. And then by reading the higher self, the essence, I can tell why it's there, what beliefs caused it, where it came from. What to do about it is a different story. Some people are hanging on to that disease and don't know that they're hanging on to it for specific purposes. But I just began to see things in that way from the time I was a child. So it was apparent because I could feel, and I started to really become a bit of a researcher or reporter because I started to see how the memory was working and how it was being accumulated in the packets of molecules in the water. And I started to associate that with certain emotions. And then I started to associate certain emotions with certain beliefs and certain beliefs with certain diseases. And over time, uh, took about 20 years of time, I started to really be able, it was so predictable, who would get what disease. And I could predict it years and years and years in advance. And obviously identify it once it's already there. So that's how I knew. Um, Mike Plus says I am using an inner Qigong breathing exercise where I would breathe and visualize my chi circulating up my spine and back down the front of my body. Do you think it's a good exercise? If it makes you feel good, if you're noticing results from it, absolutely. I love Qigong. Qigong is a part of my Kripa yoga practice. It's a combination of Qigong, shamanism, and it also teaches the 8 branches of yoga, 8 traditional branches of yoga. So I love Qigong. Absolutely recommend. Comments on bladder cancer. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. What are you pissed off about? Oh, gallbladder cancer. I didn't read that right. I don't see it very often, but I know that the gallbladder, I often see a lot of dark, cloudy, green energy around the solar plexus region, particularly around the areas around that area of where the gallbladder is. And it feels like holding on to toxicity, allowing and then grasping and holding on to that toxicity. So being addicted to drama and toxic emotions, I've noticed, or being unable to release toxic emotions and forgive them. Thank you for that, Lindsay. How do you see 2020? You have to see in complete innocence from your heart. Yeah. What is all this talk about entering the 5G or the 5th dimension? Thank you again, Lindsay. I didn't see a question associated with your super chat, though. I'm clicking on it. It doesn't appear to be a question. Let me know again if you have one. With the 5G, I mean, what do you mean? I think you meant to say 5D, the 5th dimension. I find that that's an interesting dream that the collective is having, to believe that there would be higher than and lower than. I can say that the 5th dimension has been in existence and will continue to be in existence. It's not a new thing. So what do you want to know? It's not new. Many people operate in various dimensional existences simultaneously because there's no separation. You can be in the 3rd dimension, 4th dimension, 5th dimension, 10th dimension, 110th dimension at the same time, because God is multidimensional in creative expression. So whatever you are aware of in your emotions at any given point in time is going to pull you into that expression and experience in that unique dimension. And then you think, that's it. I'm now in the 5th dimension. And then you experience a lower frequency. And then you're back in 3rd for a while and learning and expanding and growing. Yeah. Thank you, Torborn. That's a tricky question, Estrella. She said, can you tell if, as a psychic, if a person is alive or dead already? She apparently knew someone who's missing for 7 years. I don't view anyone as dead. Let's put it that way. My vision just will not go there. My mind just can't go there. If you tell me they're likely dead, I look at that and I can kind of confirm yes or no. But simultaneously, there seems to be some accuracy around it as a medium, but I just still can't view them as dead. I have a hard time with that. And is the energy a little different? Yeah. Yeah. Any medium can tell you it's different. But my deeper question to you is, how do you want to know? Like, why do you want to know? How do you believe that would serve you? Um, if I'll put it to you this way, this is what I've observed from missing people who have actually, crossed into another realm. If let's just put it that way. I'm not nuts about that word dead, as you can tell. Uh, I've had families hire me to locate missing loved ones. And a lot of them had already been, crossing through form and no longer associated with their form, no longer incarnated is a better way to put it. And they often just say, "What? I'm not dead." And so I have to address it differently and say, "Well, are you still incarnated? Are you still experiencing in a body?" And they're like, if I wanted them to know that, I would have personally come to them and told them I am no longer in form. If they wanted you to know what happened, if they thought it was relevant for your healing and closure, they would have come to you and told you. Or it would have happened. The cops would have found them. Something would have become apparent if you were meant to know that answer. So many people get so deeply into God's business. I love Byron Katie, by the way. You can tell by the way I teach. So in Byron Katie's teachings, there are 3 types of business. If you stay in one type of business, you do very well. If you get in the other 2 types of business, you don't. This is when suffering happens, when you get into these other 2 types of business. So the type of business, 3 types of business: your business, someone else's business, God's business. So it is actually not my business to know if someone's missing, if they are still in form. It is that person's business. And if they are, dead, as you called it, if they are no longer incarnated, that is God's business. So those are the 2 types of businesses I do not advise you to get in. Because if it were meant to be known, it would be known and it would be apparent to you already. I know this is a really difficult answer and you have my compassion. I know it's hard to have someone that you love go missing. Okay. It's a really hard thing. But it's good to kind of look at that misperception of, well, the first misperception is, if I understand something, I will fill in the blank. What do you think you're going to do if you understand something? You will get closure. I've been working with you for 21 years now with mediumship and with helping with grief, lost loved ones, sickness, so much. And the understanding did not help. It temporarily does, but it's kind of an ego wraparound. It's the way that the ego wraps you in. Here it is. You can feel better now. Then you don't. It's the time that heals, not the understanding. You see what I mean? When I meditate, I look like I'm going through a portal, and at time I see another place and another place in time with beings just walking about. Can you tell me about that? You're likely astral projecting, which is a really fun experience when you meditate. So that's an interesting thing that a lot of people do when they're no longer attached to form and they're starting to lose fear. The spirit will leave and explore parallel times and parallel dimensions of your own dreams and creations. Yeah. Thank you for the super chat. All right, guys, this was fun today. I won't be doing it this weekend because I'll be home spending time with my family. So I think I probably will be here on Monday. I can't make a promise on it, but I am going to try to be here on Monday at the same time, around 10 Mountain Standard Time. I will see you then. Thank you so much for everything. Kelly, I don't know what that is. I'm still really trying to figure out what you mean when you say 5G. Are you talking about like some super form of wireless? I mean, I don't know what I'm missing. I got to stick around for this now. Will you tell me? Because I'm thinking that you're thinking about dimensions and you're saying that's not it. Humans create all sorts of fun dreams about things. You guys know what she's talking about? She's talking about something with 5G, and it sounds like a Wi-Fi plan to me. I just don't know. And to me, if I don't know, it's not really incredibly relevant to my experiencing. So if anyone wants to email me and tell me what they think that means, it's fine. New wireless towers? It is? Okay. Is that what you're talking about? Because there were only two ways I was interpreting that. One is dimensions and one is wireless towers. Those were the two things I was getting. And I thought, for sure, that can't be wireless towers. Okay. What do I think about it? I don't think about it. Um, my phone is a smartphone. It is, I believe it might be an iPhone 6. It's kind of old. Have no intentions of upgrading to heavy duty wireless. As a medical medium, yes, I have seen associations with wireless and smartphones and too much use of them to be very detrimental, particularly brain cancers. Um, yeah, brain cancers is the biggest thing that I've seen an association there with. Uh, does my phone affect me, or are you talking about with anyone? Um, it used to. I used to find that um, that can be incredibly detrimental. You know, it can be very spiritually and emotionally distracting is how it affects me. But I don't have fears of 5G. I don't have fears of the wireless plan that I have now. So the frequencies are very unusual. So what I do oftentimes with that, if I feel like it's affecting me, I will put a little shungite thing on the back of it, you know, um, and I buy little blocks for that, and it really does work. And I have people that make them; they really do work. So, but I don't know. I really haven't seen an effect. 5G, as well as any wireless technology, since enlightenment, it has not had an effect on my body or my mind. Uh, I know right away when I'm like putting too much energy into my phone, and I just put it down. I hand it to my partner and walk away. Sometimes I'm like, "Here, take this," you know. I don't even tell her what I'm doing. I'm just like, "Can you just take this?" uh, Sometimes I get a little bit much, and I just like put it on do not disturb, walk away. I'm known to turn the wireless off of my phone a lot, especially when I'm sleeping. I like to turn the wireless off. I turn on airplane mode. I find that if you have your phone by your bed, it can be a real big detriment to your sleeping patterns. Do not put your phones by your bed unless you turn it on airplane mode. Just saying, it's not a good idea. Who's Felix? He wants me to sing someone a happy birthday. Okay, maybe we can all do it. I don't want to do it by myself. Maybe you should come on screen with me and sing happy birthday. How does that sound, Harry? You're like, no. I don't even know how to make that happen, by the way. That would be fun if we could all be on screen together and sing happy birthday. I've done enough singing and I'm late for my session. So I will say, happy birthday, Felix. And thinking about you, sending a blessing. Have a great day, guys. See you on Monday. Be blessed.